Hello and welcome to this video where I'll be guiding you through my practical system for reclaiming your attention. As Cole Newport writes in his book Deep Work, great book by the way, who you are, what you think, feel and do, what you love, is the sum of what you focus on. And we'll be diving a lot more into what this actually means practically in this video. So as you can see from the overview, we'll start out by talking about the time thieves that you have in your life, the mental reframe we'll be making, the free systems that gave me hours back, how this actually works practically, and objections plus self-compassion you might feel and have, and then finally some actions you can take away right after watching this video. So let's get into chapter 1, the real time thieves. The first one is mental switching. Every time you shift from one task to another, even something as small as checking your phone in the middle of your sentence, your brain burns a lot of energy and attention. There's actually been studies that if you are, let's say, working on a difficult task and somebody takes you out of that focus, it can take you 15 minutes to get back into that same flow state that you were in when you're doing that task. And imagine how many times you get disturbed throughout your day. Most people, they are never in deep work mode. They are never really focused these days because they're constantly getting distracted because of this mental switching. And it creates a lot of invisible friction that really compounds across your day. It might make you feel that you are just overwhelmed because you've been switching your mental state so many times. And yeah, most importantly, you lose so much time without actually realizing it that you could have spent much better than just constantly switching between these tasks. Next, there's low energy decisions. These are decisions like, what I work on next, or should I reply to this now? If you don't have a clear game plan on what's going to happen within the next hour and like a rough game plan of what happens through the whole day, then you'll be spending a lot of willpower just on figuring this stuff out. And there's so many micro decisions we make each day, and they really add up and quietly sabotage your momentum. So you end up spending your best brain power on just figuring out the logistical part of getting the work done instead of making progress. And finally, we have something called active procrastination. Sometimes you think you're actually being productive. You're getting a lot of stuff ticked off your list, or if you don't even, I don't even know if you run a list, but if you just don't run a list or run a list, you at least have this mental idea that you are ticking off a lot of boxes, but are they really what's moving the needle on what's important in your life right now? If not, you might actually be doing active procrastination. You refresh your email a lot. You organize your to-do list again, and you clean your desktop. But maybe your most important task was actually to send out job applications or to start working on your dating life. These are generally driven by your emotions and emotional resistance, not by logic, because you're afraid of that thing that you actually need to get done. It takes a lot more willpower, and then you do easier tasks as a way of avoiding that thing. I've actually seen this in the business course I'm currently taking. If you don't know, I'm currently in the process of building a coaching business for neurodivergent men. And yeah, feel free to DM me on Instagram if you want some help with overcoming your self-imposed limits. But I'm seeing that in my group that some people, they are putting in time. We have this time tracker. They are putting in 10 to 15 hours every single week, but they are not reaching out to people. They are not creating the content that will actually reach people. They are just doing like menial tasks, like thinking about, okay, so is this what I really want to sell, or is it something else? Like they are spending time on things that are not the real needle movers. And that is a form of active procrastination as well. Even though they are quote unquote working on their business, they are not actually making progress. So reflect over how these real time thieves, they appear in your life, and then let's move on to chapter 2, because we want to reframe these time thieves into something that actually makes us reclaim our time and attention. So just to sum it up really quickly, time is abstract, but your decisions, they are the tangible part here. You cannot manage your hours, but you can manage your choices. There's 3 types of decisions I want to get into here. Number 1 is you want to save time by not doing the mental switching that we talked about in chapter 1. You want to decide before the moment you actually get distracted or spiral. You can plan out to batch tasks. You can time block your calendar. There's something called Parkinson's law, And that, in short, that basically means if you have 3 weeks to do a task, often a lot of people, they will postpone that task until the last 2 or 3 days if they think, or well, because they just feel like it's there's so much time at this point. You don't really need to get started at this point. You probably knew this from back when you were a student, or if you're still a student, that if you have 3 weeks for an exam, you'll probably procrastinate the first 1 or 2, and then you realize, oh man, I really need to get going here. Otherwise, I'm not going to pass the exam. You can use this to your advantage if you time block in your calendar. So if you say that you have two hours just to finish this task, for example, today, I have allocated 2 hours to script and record this video, and that's the task for today that I decided on for my YouTube channel. So I don't have a choice, or that's at least how I've framed it myself. I just have to sit down and do this video. That's what I pre-planned. I don't even think about it because it's already set up for me, like long before I have to record this video. So that's some way you can save time. You can time block and just think about your environment. If you have your phone nearby and you're getting bombarded with notifications, put it away, because you know that will cause you to be doing mental switching. If you have everything blocked out and you use an app like Forest to focus, then that's not a problem. But just really think about your environment and how you're actually wasting a lot of time because you are just constantly mentally switching and getting disturbed. The second one is you want to preserve your energy. You want to remove the friction and unnecessary choices you need to make throughout the day. And you want to default to certain actions and build a rhythm that removes these micro decisions. I know that I'm very efficient in the morning with my work and not so efficient during the afternoon. So the way I plan my day on most days is I do my most important work during the mornings, then I go for a quick workout, get some sunlight, really freshen up, and then the afternoon is like less important admin tasks or whatever's on my list for that day. By managing my energy like that, I won't fall into the slump of procrastination so much, because the hardest things, they're already done in the morning. So the rest of the day is more or less just icing on the cake. Even if there's some important tasks, they are tasks that require less energy. And finally, I want to talk about the next point, which is you want to remove decision fatigue. And this really does tie into what we've talked about. If you pre-plan what happens at, say, 9 a.m., then you know exactly what happens when 9 a.m. hits. You don't have to suddenly think, oh, what was I supposed to do today? You can use templates to make this easier. You can have rules for yourself. You can have rituals. And like I said, time block your calendar. I think spending 10 minutes a day just planning your day will save you so much more time. So please try to do that if you are really scattered with not knowing what to do throughout the day. Sit down right before you get to work. I usually do 8:50 every single day to 9 a.m. I'll sit down and I'll pick out my 1 to 3 most important things for the day. And then I will have a look at my calendar if there's anything unusual that day, and then I'll get to work. So let's get into chapter 3, the 3 systems that gave me hours back. The first one is that, actually, let me just get a sip of coffee. I'm a little bit thirsty here. The first one is time rituals. And we've already talked about this quite a bit, that I have different containers for where my important work happens. For example, 9 to 11 is usually business/content work for me. Those are my most efficient work hours. I've tested it a lot. I've tried working earlier or tried working later. That's where I get the most amount of efficient work done. I can get more done in those 2 hours than most people can in 6 to 8 hours, just because I'm very efficient with exactly what I need to do. I protect my energy and I don't need to force it with willpower. So if you get into this routine, and I know you might be thinking, man, I have ADHD, I hate structure, something like that. That's probably because you haven't found a structure that works for you. I mean, it took me a bunch of testing. I've basically been experimenting with myself for the last 5 years on how to actually have a schedule that really works for me. And I'm still experimenting with my energy and my time. But this at least works super well for me. And you have to figure out what works for you. I'm not a night owl. I like to wake up early, and I like to get to work immediately. One quick tip is right now I'm bulking. I love going to the gym, and I'm working on that as well. So I typically eat breakfast, but honestly, if you have not experimented with intermittent fasting, I think one of the biggest energy boosters I've had is just taking a cold shower in the morning and just drinking a bunch of water, making some coffee, and then getting straight to work. These days, I make breakfast and I plan my day, and then I get to work. But if I was not bulking and focusing on the gym, I would be doing intermittent fasting every single day, because honestly, it just really clears your mind when you fast for 16 hours and you're just it paradoxically, at least for me, I am much clearer in my head when I'm fasted than when I just ate, because my body's spending energy on digesting my food. Let's talk about number 2 of the 3 systems that gave me hours back. It's the input to output rule. Instead of consuming mindlessly, really think about, why are you consuming this? Because a lot of you will probably be consuming from different sources. You're watching a YouTube video right now. That's something that's input you're taking in. You need to figure out, what are you going to do with this output? Are you watching this video for pure entertainment? Are you trying to just watch one video because you're procrastinating? Are you trying to learn about the specific topic of you being distracted and wanting to reclaim your attention? Or are you trying to improve your focus because this video has very little edits? Really sit down and reflect on that. I'd recommend you take out your journal. I always have my journal nearby, right here, and just journal for 5 to 10 minutes on this, actually, and try to reflect on what you consume through the day. Are you listening to a lot of music, and why are you listening to this? Is it to calm yourself, to distract yourself, for an energy boost, for motivation? At least for me personally, I know music is something I will listen to when I feel like kind of a bit anxious on trying to avoid boredom and trying to give me an energy boost. I often listen to music as soon as I work, but really think, is this helping me, or is it actually hurting me in the long run? Because sometimes I think it's really important just to have a bit of silence and not listen to music and not listen to audiobooks and podcasts and not constantly be on. Because again, are you just listening because you want to have something in the background to distract yourself, or are you actually learning from this? Are you actually enjoying this? I think this is not something a lot of people talk about, but it's really important to actually consider, because I mean, back like thousands of years ago, we didn't have this. The human brain didn't have to really take into account all that information we get bombarded with, and overstimulation wasn't really a thing. So I challenge you to be a bit more mindful with what you listen to. I can also tell you, with this input-output rule, I know that in the mornings I'll typically consume courses because I am watching to learn, but not for entertainment. And then during the afternoon, I will sometimes listen to audiobooks or podcasts, because then I'm still trying to learn, but still also trying to have a bit more fun with it and be a bit more chill. And then during the evening, sometimes I'll watch Netflix. I'm currently watching Alice in Borderland. I've just finished season 2, and it's a really, I think there's some really good stuff to watch out there, but I watch it after 6 p.m. That's a set rule that I have, because I know if I watch Netflix in the morning or I play video games, then I'll just destroy my motivation to do anything worthwhile through the rest of the day. So really consider this for yourself. The third one is the energy anchor. I will, as I said, plan my day on 8:50 a.m. every single day, almost, except if something comes up. And sometimes I need to be flexible with my time, but that's typically what I do right before getting into work at 9 a.m. I will plan 1 to 3 tasks, usually 3, but if you try this, I would actually recommend you start with 1. I know Ali Abdal, he calls this the daily highlight. I like to call it my core 3, because I usually plan 3. You plan these 3 things, and what I do is, 1 is usually work-related, 1 is health-related, and the third one is a joker. So, for example, today my goal was to record this video. This is a new format for Nearsphere. I have not recorded this style of video before, but I think it's going to be really beneficial to the kind of audience that listens to my video, because they typically don't listen for or they don't watch because the videos are super flash or anything. They watch for the information and the relatability, because I'm a Pokemon fan, just like you might be, you might not. I mean, this video might reach a slightly different audience than who watches my videos currently, but you probably have played Pokemon at some point in your life, and you probably relate to, if you watched other of my videos, you probably relate to some of the things I say here, and you like typically the deeper dives and the calmer reflections that I have on my channel and the vibe that I have. So this video was the one I wanted to record today. That was my task there. I just moved in with my girlfriend, and I haven't handed in my old apartment. So there's definitely some things with the apartment I need to finish today. That is my Joker task, and my health task is that I have felt a little bit off because I've just changed my environment a lot. Me and my girlfriend have had like a slight argument about some things in the apartment, and I feel like this is a good time to actually retake a course called Emotional Mastery that I took to really get in tune with myself and not drift too much emotionally. It really helps that course to clear my mind and make better decisions, because I'm not making decisions emotionally. I'm actually coming from a logical standpoint. So also, if you want your takeaway from this bit in the video, pick one task to start. If that goes well for 1 week, amp up to 2 tasks per day. If that goes well for 1 week, start planning 3 tasks, must-do tasks every single day, and then make sure those get done. Yeah, I can see. I forgot. I even wrote examples here that record Neurosphere video, buy sandpaper, book time with new dentists. Here, less is more. You can have 10 different tasks aside from these that are like nice to haves, but 1 to 3 tasks maximum every day. That's your must-dos, and then the rest is optional. Let's get into how this works in practice, because we've been talking through a lot of stuff. I've given you a lot of my own anecdotes, and yeah, I've even quoted myself here. It works. This system works even when I don't feel like it. That's the most crucial things, because if you have a system that just collapses when you have a busy week, when you feel anxious about something coming up, an event or some life things have something happening in your life. I mean, right now my grandpa is literally he's gonna pass away, maybe today or tomorrow. They switched off the care for him, like the proper care. So now it's just, I can't remember the exact term, but yeah, my mom's in the hospital with him. I live very far away, so I have already said goodbye to him last week, and that's pretty tough. And that's also partially why I'm taking the Emotional Mastery course again. My headspace is not the best, but because I have a system around it, my system doesn't collapse completely. I mean, I can easily keep up the work here with Neosphere with at least 1 long form video a week, and I take off time. I have set out 2 hours later today to really just do nothing and just emotionally be in tune with myself, tap into the Emotional Mastery course, and then I'll be good. And then I will do this again tomorrow if necessary. I'll take tomorrow off if necessary. So yeah, the way that this system works is, the core driver of it is time blocks. My mornings are super structured in my case, and my afternoons are super flexible. I like to call this structured chaos. I'd advise you to try to do something similar yourself. You don't have to schedule every single hour, but try to audit where your time is currently going. If you know you're wasting a bunch of time during the morning, maybe try to put in a time block there to mitigate where you're wasting your time. Or if you know you're low on energy during the afternoon, don't schedule like a bunch of really taxing things, because you'll just procrastinate and you won't be able to do that. I spoke to a potential client here this week, and he actually had that problem. He was falling behind with his studies, and one thing I told him was to just try to study for 15 minutes in the morning, because he said that during the afternoon when he tried to study, he would often, like a lot of the time, he would just not have the energy for it. So he'd end up procrastinating till 6 p.m. when it was dinner time, and then he wouldn't be getting much done that day. So really figure out how your energy levels work. Again, send me a DM if you want me to help you audit this on Instagram, and we can talk about it. I'm currently, at least at this point in time, I'm currently doing some free coaching calls, and then I have a paid option if you want to work with me for longer. But if you just want to have a quick conversation and me to look at it, you can DM me on Instagram. It's totally for free, and let's have a look at it. Then there's the input to output rule. I mean, I've structured my consumption in different blocks. So as I said, morning is courses, then we get into podcasts, audiobooks, and then Netflix and series and stuff like that. For your energy anchor task, if things are really, really bad and overwhelming, I'll just schedule one task, do my one task reset, as I've written here. Do one thing done mindfully from the 1 to 3 decided tasks. I mean, when you look here, what I wrote in chapter 3 for the energy anchor, I believe that day was when I got the news of my they switched off the things in the hospital for my grandpa. So I just bought the sandpaper for the apartment. That was it that day. That was the one of the 3 things that I thought I have to do this because I need to get to work handing in the old apartment. So yeah, pick your 1 to 3 tasks for the day, which really does restore a sense of control and cuts off the spiral of avoidance. And for the next chapter, chapter 5, that's objections plus self-compassion, because I know we've gone through a lot here in this video already. There's a lot of things to take action on. You should not try to do all of this stuff at once. I'd recommend you just to pick one thing, but we'll get back to that into the actions bit. I just want to go through 3 thoughts and mindsets that you might be sitting here with at this point after watching this, because these are some of the reasons that people don't fall through. You might be thinking, what if I fall off the system? There's one rule I really like, which is the 2-day rule that I got from Matt Diavella a long time ago. I think it was like 4 years ago I watched a video with him. The rule is about the fact that if you break the habit once, that's not a problem. But if you do 2 days, then a pattern starts to emerge. This system is built to restart, and that's the point. You will definitely fall off for 1 day. But if you do, make sure you don't do it the next day. The first time I tried this principle in practice was with my workout. I was working out a lot back then, but yeah, I don't remember the exact schedule, but I just decided to try working out every other day. Or even if I was working out, let's say 5 times a week or 4 times a week, I just told myself, okay, so if I end up quote unquote missing a day, or if I have a day in between, I'll just accept that if I don't manage to work out that day, and I'll make sure I do it the next day. Hell, even if you work out 2 days a week, you could just have a rule that if you've scheduled a workout for Monday and Thursday, let's say you miss the workout on Thursday, then just make sure you do it on Friday instead. If you just decide that, oh, I missed my Thursday workout, I'm not gonna do the workout at all, then you have a problem. Then it's suddenly so much harder for you to next week to get back up on the horse and actually work out those 2 times a week. I've seen this pattern as well with a guy I've been helping lose weight, and I don't know where he is right now because he's kind of been avoiding my questions. He's a really good friend of mine, so I care for his health quite a lot, and it really hurts me that he keeps falling off. But yeah, he has this problem where suddenly he misses like 2 days or more, and then suddenly it's like this big hole that he's stuck himself into. It's so difficult to get back on the horse. So do yourself the favor and make sure if you miss a day, just get right back onto it the next day. That's your priority. If you getting back to the energy anchors, just really make sure that is on your priority list next day if it's something important to you. Then there's what if I don't have the energy? This system restores your energy because it works with your energy. It plans around the energy levels you have and the type of person you are. Are you a night owl or a morning person? So it doesn't rely on motivation. It actually builds it, because when you start doing this stuff, when you set up a system like this, your motivation goes up because it really works when you figure out what actually works with your brain. And these small wins, the 1 to 3 tasks, they change your chemistry. They just make you want to do more and do it more efficiently. And then there's the thought of, but I'm not consistent. I'm not a consistent person. I can't stick with things. Honestly, I'm not consistent either. I sometimes scroll during the morning. I shouldn't do that, but it happens. I also sometimes get a bit late. As I said, I was watching Alice in Borderlands yesterday, the last episode of season 2. Really, really crazy good episode in my opinion. And it made me reflect because it had a really nice message in the show. I'm reluctant to spoil what happens, and I won't do that. But one of the characters ends up with a really nice note on how life is really a game that we play together, so we should try to get the most of it and try to enjoy it. And yeah, that wouldn't really do it justice the way I said it. If you know, you know, if you have watched the series. But I really want to reflect on that statement and what I got from the series, because while I watched it for fun, I actually got a really nice insight from watching that show. So I'm gonna sit down and journal about this and just think about this for a bit. So yeah, where was I? Not being consistent. So as I've written down here, these systems, they should absolutely not be perfect, and that's the whole point. They just need to have a return path, an easy way of you to get back into it. This is also what I work with my clients on, the fact that we are not building the end-all be-all, all best system. We're building a system that works for their brain and their habits, energy levels, and so on. And the job here isn't to be flawless. It's like I'm 70% consistently is a lot better than 100% for a couple of days where you just fall off and then get back to it in a couple of weeks. That philosophy is something that I got from one of my good friends who he has both autism and ADHD. And he as a kid, he's what do you call it in English? He's taking care of his daughter, 3-year-old daughter, by himself. So he really has a lot on his plate, and his mind is just crazy. I mean, I try to analyze it, and I'm getting a slight headache sometimes from trying to understand him. But yeah, he has this principle where he just aims for 70% of in everything he does, and I was so inspired by that, because today, as I said, there's a lot of things going on with the old apartment with my grandpa. I went to work out for 40 minutes. Sometimes they run for 70 to 90, but I just did the bare minimum, the 70%. The most important things, the compound exercises, the deadlift, squats, and the incline bench press, and then some leg curls. That was it. In and out in 40 minutes. Got back here, recorded this video. I'm gonna get something quick to eat, and then I'm gonna go straight to my old apartment and clean that up. So again, you don't need to be 100% consistent. You just need to show up fairly consistently 70% of the time, or at least with 70% intensity as well. Finally, I think I've rambled quite a lot here. This is going to be probably the longest video on my channel so far. I hope it's going to be beneficial to the people that are still watching. Let's translate this into something tangible that you can do right now as you finish watching this video. Step 1, pick one thing you've been avoiding. And I want you to make it really small. It's something that's been nagging at the back of your mind. If you are inspired by my content and you want to create content, today you record a video and upload it to YouTube. And please write in the comments if you actually managed to do that. I want to see it. I don't care that it's not perfect, that it's not quote unquote good enough. If you've been avoiding this for a while, you just need to record, get it out there. The first one's the worst one, then it's going to get way easier when you've done that. Trust me on that. If you've been trying to lose weight or go to the gym, today I want you to just do a workout. Just find go onto YouTube and type up something like 10-minute workout. Just do anything. Just get started. And if you have been trying to improve your social skills or your dating life, I want you to just talk to one person today. Go outside of your apartment, talk to anyone. Just ask for the time. Or if that's too overwhelming, just go to the supermarket, ask where the bread is. Just do anything to get in contact with someone. That is step 1 of your takeaway from this video. Please do these steps because you've been wasting your time. If you watched all of this and you don't do the actions, you'll get nothing from it. Your life will stay the same. Your life trajectory will be the exact same as before you watch this video. So please do the steps. This is not a video that is very fun. This is for learning, and this is for taking action. Step 2 is I want you to schedule a 45-minute block tomorrow. Not sometime this week or next week. Put it on the calendar and protect it. That's the most important thing. That's when you do the 1 to 3 decided tasks that I mentioned earlier in this block. If that's too overwhelming, like with the guy I spoke to on the call earlier this week, start with 15 minutes. Do just 15 minutes. Those, and work on the most important task for the day. If that is sending a job application, then just open your resume, start tweaking that, and then that's it. After 15 minutes, you can continue, or you can just be like, wow, I won the day. I did the 15 minutes. And then step 3 is you just focus on the first step. I've kind of alluded to this already. So let's go back to the let's take fitness again, for example. If you're going to the gym for the first time, the first step is putting on your shoes. It's not how many sets of squats should I do today. So you want to just focus on step 1 when that creates momentum when you complete step 1, and then that creates a big win, that creates this or a small win, that creates this feedback loop that you have now done a good action for yourself and pushed yourself towards the next action you want to do. So just think in a single action, and then the next action, and the next action, and the next action. So again, for me, if I go to the gym, I would be putting on my shoes, taking the bike to the gym, and then the next action is warming up for my sets, and then my next action is which exercise is the next one, and then you just keep stacking those wins. That's the way you actually build momentum and complete a lot of these things. And really, that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. As I alluded to, you can DM me on Instagram at @MarkusEspe if you want some personalized support. What I do currently is I've helped neurodivergent men take action and achieve a specific goal by overcoming their self-imposed limits in 8 to 12 weeks. That specific goal is whatever you're working on currently. The guy I recently spoke to, as I said, he wanted to become a better student, so we're going to be working on his focus for 8 to 12 weeks. If as a case study, that's just an example. If you wanted to get a new job, that goal would be to help you get closer to that goal. And if you want to start creating content, that would be helping you achieve whatever specific goal you have with that. So like I've written here, that usually looks like finishing something that they've been stuck on for months, like creating content consistently, committing to a career direction, or rebuilding momentum in their dating or social life.